As a driver, I don't want to hurt no one, nobody before something happens. I will hope it's me that something happens before something else take place.
There is a prolonged descent that is notorious among truckers who drive through Colorado, down I-70 into Denver. It's dozens of miles, and it's just the descent from the mountains through the foothills onto the plains. And so you're losing a few thousand feet of elevation over the course of these few dozen miles. And it's even driving in a car is kind of harrowing. If you don't know what to expect, because you want to ride your brake all the time, and in a truck you can't ride your brake all the time, because you do that, your brakes will overheat, they go out, and you can't stop. So the question is did this happen to Aguilar Maderos when he's doing this?
Who wants to be responsible for a truck that weighs 80,000 pounds? A lot of people do, but a lot won't.
Coming down from the tunnel into Denver, I'd only have to hit the brakes maybe 3 times all the way down. Most of the time I'd just leave my Jake brake on, and it would slow the truck down pretty well, even weighing 80,000 pounds.
So Castellano 03 Trucking, the outfit that Madero worked for, had 19 inspections just in the last couple of years. That resulted in 30 violations. And a good number of those, about a third of those, had to do with braking issues. And most of these were mechanical issues, where either there hadn't been proper inspections or there were hose problems, things like that could potentially cause mechanical issues on the road.
The biggest thing is making sure you start out at the top of the hill in the right gear. So if you start in too high of a gear, there's no slowing down. If you find yourself in a runaway situation, the best thing to do is just come to a complete stop on the shoulder before your brakes burn out. After you're using your brakes, what happens is they get glazed, and so they become shiny, and then it's just like two pieces of metal sliding on each other. It doesn't give you very good braking. So
actually, there was a video taken from a passenger in another car or a truck showing this semi sort of blowing by and struggling to stay upright, crossing across lanes. And this is right as the truck is going by a runaway truck ramp. So he continues down Interstate 70. And when he's getting into the Denver suburbs on the western side of the metropolitan area, he is coming up on afternoon rush hour traffic. And this is a problem because he, by his own account, is going 85 miles an hour or so.
See, so when you drive one of those trucks and your brakes are going out like that, it's literally you're stepping on the brakes and they're not doing anything, or they're doing very little. So you're coming up on an off ramp, your choice at that point is get off on the off ramp and not be able to stop and cream a bunch of people, or hope like hell you got clear road ahead of you. So I think it was the latter. He was hoping that there was clear road ahead of him.
He maneuvers over onto the shoulder, but then as he's coming up to where traffic is stopped, there's another semi-trailer that is stopped in the shoulder. He decides to turn back into the traffic lanes and then just plows into the backs of a bunch of cars. Explosions and mayhem, and 4 people lost their lives as a result.
I think the guy was he was an idiot. That's my opinion. People just, like I said, people in too much of a hurry and they need to slow down. I used to come down that hill, the speed limit's 35 for trucks, and I used to come down that hill at 45 because there were trucks blowing by me at 55, 60.
I've been on there up and down so many times. My thoughts about it is that we should have another ramp past that, just in case something goes down.
A couple of these folks, they burned alive in their cars. Like, that's how bad it was. Fuel tanks blew up on cars, and people were struggling to get out of there. A lot of people were sent running. There was a lot of people injured. There's also a lot of people who obviously sprung into action and tried to help. There are starting to be lawsuits filed. The first one was filed in July against both the driver and the company Castellano. And because it's a small company, though, there's a question about how much they'll end up paying out to the victims of the crash. Federal regulations require them to only to carry $750,000 of liability coverage, insurance coverage. And according to some documents that a Denver TV station reported, that's what they have, is the minimum $750,000 of insurance. And when you're talking about dozens of people who were injured and 4 fatalities, you're talking about millions of dollars potentially of exposure. And so could be an instance where the victims would get shortchanged.
What we can do about it is get better, get together, and work out things of building I-70, I drive. I check the best I can to prevent anything to happen, people around me and myself included too. But it's harder. There's no way to tell. We do the best we can. We do the best we can, yeah.